April 26th, next Saturday, will mark the 50th anniversary of the Drake Stadium record in the women's 1 mile. And as two Iowa natives who have raced many times in Drake Stadium, we think it may have a special meaning to Shelby and Karissa. And of course, as the holder of that record, we think it may also have some special meaning to to Francie, excuse me. Want to just turn to Francie first to talk about that experience and her many experiences in Drake Stadium. With highlighting that Drake Relay's win and stadium record that has lasted since April 26, 1975, and then just ask Karissa and Shelby to follow.
First of all, I was very surprised to learn that the record had not been broken for 50 years, but that's an exciting thing for Karissa and Shelby to be able to be there and the other competitors to work towards breaking that record. I think it's definitely going to be broken. Records are made to be broken. I was just surprised that there was that I had any records still at this stage in my life.
Thanks, Francie. Karissa?
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. A 50-year-old record is awesome. And I'm sure you still have a few records out there, as so many have been set. So it's such an honor to be able to be out there on the day of the anniversary, 50 years, and to go attempt to break that record. It'd be awesome if we can lower it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Thanks,
to kind
Karissa.
of, oh, sorry. Yeah, just to kind of build off that too. I'm like, it's so cool that it's like the exact day, 50 years later, that we get to, because usually we run the 1500 at Drake. So it's like the fact that we get to run a mile and see if we can't break a 50-year-old record is such a privilege. And I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be fun.
Terrific. Now I'll certainly open to any questions from the media, but I may turn it back as media members formulate their questions and start raising hands back to, in reverse order, Shelby to Karissa. Each of you are coming to Des Moines with two races, one on Tuesday at the Grand Blue Mile presented by Wellmark. That is also the USATF 1 Mile Championship. And then staying for Drake Stadium on Saturday. So I'll start with Shelby and follow with Karissa. The decision to run two races in Des Moines next week and how that came to be.
Yeah, I guess I was just asked by my agent. I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I'm always down to race, and obviously Drake Relays holds a special place in my heart, being, I raced there through high school. That was like the meet. And, at state, you are divided up into divisions, and you're not like really racing everyone. But at Drake, it was like, this is the best of the best in the state. So it was just like such a cool meet. And I always want to go back. And so when I was asked to run both of the events, I was like, hell yeah, like I'm ready to go. This is going to be fun. I've never run the Grand Blue Mile before, so I'm excited to do that for the first time.
Nina? Yeah, no, I agree. I honestly saw that US Champs was at Drake this year, and I was like, wow, what a perfect like full circle moment, opportunity to come back and race with a home crowd. I've never done the Grand Blue Mile either. My whole goal was to do the road mile. And then I was telling my grandpa about it, and he's been to Drake, I think like 40 years maybe in a row. And he's like, you're not going to race in the stadium? And then I was like, well, shoot, I have to race in the stadium too. So I'm really excited about it. I convinced my coach to let me do the road mile and the stadium mile. And I think if you're coming out for the road mile, it's like you might as well be able to race both. And how fun is it that Shelby and I get to race twice in 1 week? So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Fantastic. I'm going to turn it to Todd Kim, and then we'll follow with a few messages that are in the chat.
Yeah, this is for Shelby. Shelby, you mentioned, I think it was last month, that you really had to let go of anger as motivation as you were getting ready for your return. How difficult was that, and how much did it help you get ready for that race in China?
Yeah, honestly, it was I want to say it was difficult, but it also wasn't. Like anger is not a very good motivator for me. I thrive off of like having fun with what I'm doing, and for me, anger it's like it can be a good fuel, but it's not sustainable. And I would find that I would get into these little pity party, and then my workouts would not go well or and things like that. So it was really intentional for me to kind of like try to let that go and really focus more on having fun with what I was doing, and that's been so much better. And getting back into racing and just chipping away and like figuring out these little things of like, oh, well, I raced well here, but like these are all the things that I could do better. And then continuing to build off of that going into China. Um, Honestly, building up my confidence and just letting go of any pressure was the biggest thing. And I felt like I was able to do that. And obviously, like I had a good race and I won a silver medal, so that was really cool.
Thanks, Shelby. I'm going to turn to the three quick questions from Larry in the chat. First to you, Francie. Larry Eater has asked from Run Blog Run, what do you recall of that race?
Oh, it it was a windy, cool day, and there was some good competition. Cindy Bremser was there, and one of my favorite competitors of all time, actually. And I don't remember a whole lot about the race, but it was, I mean, I love to race, just no matter what, where. But Drake Relays was one of the best organized and best meets for the early season races, and I always went into a race trying to run my best. So it was a great crowd, always a great crowd there, and one of my early meets of the season, and really meant a lot to me to perform well in every meet. I wanted to win every single race every time I raced. So
Thank you, Francie. Again from Larry with Run Blog Run. This one's to Shelby. Um, can you tell us about the World Indoor 3K and did you take a break after that competition?
Yeah, the World Indoors was awesome. Kind of coming off of US Indoors, I feel like I got a lot of really good information for myself. Mostly just I needed to get to a point where I was trusting my instincts in racing and like really building on that confidence to just shut my mind off and race. And so that's kind of what I worked on for the next month in between was building up my confidence, trusting myself. I gave myself little things to focus on throughout the race to help shut my mind off and just race. And it worked really well. And I felt really good throughout the race. And especially that last 200, I just felt so determined. I went into that race feeling no nerves actually, and just feeling really calm and confident in myself. And that's the most confident that I feel like I've gone into a world championship race. So it was great. And then yes, I did take a break. I went on a little vacation and just sat by a pool with drank a one or two margaritas, and it was a good break for me, just a mental reset more than anything, because it's been 4 years for me since I've had to stay mentally on all season for a full like season. So I'm trying to manage the mental aspect of coming back and staying dialed in all year again. So taking a mental reset was a must for me. It was great.
Thank you, Shelby. And then to Karissa, how are you looking at the 2025 season?
Yeah, I mean, this will be my first race of 2025. So I'm definitely going to just bust some rust out there with a quick mile. But I'm excited to just kind of work on my like finishing speed. This year I have the qualifiers in the 5 and 10, which I haven't had those in previous years. So normally the year's just spent chasing those marks. So it's nice to kind of be able to relax and build the season how I think is best for me and how I'm going to be set up the best for US champs and hopefully worlds.
Great. Thank you. And Jody, thank you for your patience. I'm going to turn it to you now.
Thanks, Blake. This question is both for Shelby and Karissa. You guys have raced and competed all over the world, but what does it mean for you to return to kind of your home turf, if you will, and compete at Drake Stadium. Do you feel any sort of added pressure competing in kind of front of a home crowd?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just very excited, honestly. To come back, Iowa's been is home for me, and to come back and compete in front of I guess a hometown crowd, even though I'm from Sioux City, but a lot of my family and friends are gonna be there watching. And so it feels, yeah, like this is how I should open up my outdoor season, is going back to Iowa and racing in front of a hometown crowd. Very excited for it. And I don't really feel too much added pressure. I think I mostly just feel a lot of love and support, and I'm excited to go and compete.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. It's just so fun to be able to come back. I feel like I haven't been back in probably, I think, 6 years maybe. And every year I'm just looking and I'm like, does Drake fit in my schedule this year? Does it fit in this year? So I've been trying to come back for a while, and I'm just really happy that it worked out this year. And my family is so excited to come out and watch. So it's just going to be nice to have like that hometown feel, and I get to stay with my family. So it's just like a nice break from training, get to like see loved ones, and then also get to race.
Thank you all. Quick question, couple questions for Karissa from Rich at Race Results Weekly. This is your first race of the season. Was it intentional to start your season now, or were there any hiccups over the winter?
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have done indoor. I was training really well coming off of my 2024 season, and I think I just didn't take like a big enough reset and just went right into things. So, had to skip the indoor season, but typically I've been having some hiccups like around this time of year. So I'm actually happy that it happened so early, because now I can just kind of focus, and I feel really healthy right now on the outdoor season, and hopefully can just build on that.
Great. Well, I've got a couple more questions here for Karissa. I'm going to combine one from Rich and from Lance Bergeson of the Des Moines Register here in Central Iowa. Um, you're known as a 5K 10K specialist by many, but your strong PR is in the 1500, obviously, and you won the Fifth Avenue Mile last fall. What do you enjoy about racing these shorter distances? And then the second part of that, did that win change your view about racing at these distances?
Um, yeah, that win was really fun, and it definitely made me look at more like road mile stuff, just because I realized like it's just like really good for like a 5K, 10K runner to be challenged like that. There's some very good 1500 specialists, and I just love the challenge of trying to just stay with them, finish fast, get out fast. Like all of that is just like very scary territory for me sometimes. So it's great to be able to work on that. And I would say I get so much more nervous for these types of races than I do for like the 5K and the 10K, just because I'm like doing strides like crazy and just being like, I got to get out with them and hang on tight. So yeah, it's been nice to be able to race like a couple of those shorter distances when I'm in that fitness, because I just feel like I can like prove to myself that I belong there too.
Great. So I've got a question for Shelby from Doug Binder of DieStat. You've talked about how you spent time in Iowa during your suspension and family sustained you during a dark time. What does it mean to you to return to the Drake Relays? And how much does the community in Des Moines mean to you?
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time in Iowa the last 4 years, mostly in the summers when the weather's nice. And so it's always kind of been on it. Obviously, it's been home, but it's been like kind of a safe place for me. My family has a lake home in Okoboji, which is one of like my favorite places in the world. And so it feels really cool to finally be going back to Iowa, and this time I get to race, and so that feels cool to, like I said before, kind of open up. It feels right that I'm opening up my season in Iowa, outdoors.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm excited to go to the Drake Relays. It has meant a lot to me over the years to race at the Drake Relays. But even through the last 4 years, I've felt a lot of love and support from people like the community in Des Moines or from my hometown in Sioux City, or just people all over the Midwest, honestly. So that's, yeah, to be able to kind of go back and race in front of the people that have followed and supported me over my entire career, it's pretty special.
Thanks, Shelby. We'll continue with the chat questions in a moment, but I'm going to turn it to Michael Admire from Drake Sports Media.
Sweet. I love the 1 mile race. I mean, it's such a throwback to like elementary and middle school. Just kind of curious for you three, what is it about the 1 mile that has you excited now? And Francie, had you excited when you were running it 50 years ago?
Well, actually, the mile was the only event that I could run back then. They didn't run 1500 for women here in the US. I had to go to Europe to be able to compete in that distance. So it's exciting the fact that it's kind of opposite now. They run the 1500 all the time and not the mile. And so you get to play with the mile sometimes by running road miles or running a mile on the track. What they did for a while was run the 1500 en route to the mile, which is kind of nice when you can double dip and get a record running both races within one. But that was different back then.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll go. I keep waiting for like you to go, maybe, but
Yeah.
yeah, like like you said, we don't really get to run the mile too often. If anything, it's usually only an indoor track. Um, and it's such a historic event. So I'm excited personally to run the mile, and I get to do it twice in 1 week, so that's cool. Um, yeah, I'm excited to challenge myself and see if I can't run a fast mile. I was, kind of like looking up, oh, what are the American records in the mile outdoors and on the road and like all these things. So it's just like it's not something that we typically do or think about. So it's yeah, I'm excited for a new challenge, and it's not a new challenge, but kind of a new challenge.
Yeah, I love running the mile just because I feel like when anyone asks you, like, they're like, oh, you're a runner, they're just like, oh, what's your mile time? So I'm just like, any chance I have to lower that, I'm like, yes, please. Because anything in like I mean, if you just say anything in the fours, they're always like, whoa. But personally, it's like nice to be able to run that and try to get that lower. And then on top of that, as a distance runner, I feel like that extra little bit, besides like running a 1500, that extra like little bit for the mile, I'm like, I think it helps me. It's probably just mental.
Great. Thank you all. I'm going to turn back to the chat. Adriana with WHO 13 asks for Karissa and Shelby. You've been on some big stages, and you've talked about this a little bit already. But does it feel full circle to come back to your quote home track, like by reference from the beginning? Just again, more poignantly, how special is this place to each of you?
You can go first this time.
Yeah, it's actually so crazy that we've been at so many big stages and racing the Olympics, huge stadiums, but I still like remember the feeling of racing at Drake in high school, and nothing is more nerve-wracking than that. Like I still like I would be sick to my stomach as a little high schooler, like getting ready to race because it was such a big stadium and such a big opportunity as a high schooler at that time. And I think it's so cool that we got to do that and got to expose ourselves to such big races and not even having to travel that far. And I just love being able to come back because I just remember like as a little kid watching the pros and just being like, that's so cool. And I mean, I always dreamt that I could be that one day, but I never actually like thought that in reality at that time when I was like begging for autographs and cheering people on. So it's pretty cool to come back.
Yeah, I was gonna say something much similar to what Karissa just said. It's just like I remember coming in high school and yeah, like I said, going to Drake. Well, I either went to Drake for the Drake relays or for the state meet, and outside of that, I like didn't really come to Des Moines to race. But yeah, when I got to go there, and then this it's the biggest stadium as a high
Yeah.
schooler. It's just like it's kind of terrifying. But I have so many good memories. I remember like, just like coming out of and getting onto the track, and I'm like, don't look at the crowd. Like it's just like it felt so big. And so yeah, lots of nerves going into Drake and State. But yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks. As in terms of all of the tracks that I've gotten had the privilege to run on in my career, like I think this is still my favorite track to run on. Just the crowd's awesome, the atmosphere is cool, and you can really run fast if the weather cooperates, hopefully. But even if it doesn't, there's still some fast times that can come out of it.
Thank you, guys. We're going to do our best here in the next 7 minutes to get through all the questions that are in the chat. Really appreciate the quality of questions and the frequency of questions. So thank you all. We'll do our best to get them all answered. Here's a couple from our friend Larry Eater at Run Blog Run Again. First to you, Francie. What was your favorite distance to race? Larry comments that he's watched you race from 880 yards, that famous half mile distance, as Cinder Gals to the marathon for New Balance.
Yeah, I love the 800 so much, but I was better at the 1500, and I thought of myself throughout my career as a middle distance runner. The distance evolved along with adding distances for women. I mean, the longest I was somebody who wanted to be an Olympian, so I didn't care about any events that weren't in the Olympics. And the longest race in the Olympics when I started running was 800. My first Olympics, I ran in the first Olympic 1500. I ran in the first ever Olympic women's 5K or 10K in Seoul. And so I had that experience. They added the 3K in 84, and I failed to make that team, but that kind of evolved over time. I didn't care about anything but Olympic events.
Thank you, Francie. And the same question to you, Karissa, and then to Shelby. Do you have a favorite race distance?
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's definitely evolved as the 5K. I wouldn't have said that when I
Uh-oh. No, I think maybe you accidentally got muted, Karissa. I'm not sure what happened, but thank you. Sorry
we
about
all
that. Yeah,
got
so
moved out there.
maybe restart to just
Yeah.
tell us your favorite race distance.
Yeah, my favorite race distance is probably the 5K. It's definitely been a work in progress. It's a hard event and it definitely challenges me. But I feel like it's just a good distance for me. And it is like that sweet spot for just like it combines everyone. You got the speed and you got the endurance people, and everyone kind of comes together in that 5K. So it's just a really fun event. And I really want to break through on the American side. I think we haven't placed in the top 6 on a world level. And that's just something that I think needs to be done. I think it's something that can be done.
Yeah, I think like Francie, I kind of started off as an 800-meter runner, so like I would say that used to be my favorite, but like I don't know, I also just love racing. So like whatever distance it is, I'm here for the challenge, and I want to see how good I could be at it. I think right now for me, it's probably the 1500. I love how fast it is, and you can't like you can't really make mistakes. There's not enough time for you to make mistakes. You have to be on. It's high pressure. I think that's really fun. Also nerve-wracking, but I'm kind of down for any race, really.
Thank you all very much. We've got just a few more minutes here. I promised our special guests that we would wrap up by 3 p.m. Central. So we may still have time for one or two more, but I'm going to go next with a question from Doug Binder at DieStat. It's one that I got asked when I started here at Drake, and I've heard our athletic director be asked. Well, what's your favorite memory from high school at the Drake Relays?
Do
Do
you
you
want
want to
to
go
go first?
first? You got it.
I trying to think. I actually never got a Drake Relays flag in high school, so that was something that actually I've always was like, "Ugh, I have to get one of those." Like it just feels like a rite of passage as an Iowan to have a Drake Relays flag. And so my college coach, my senior year, basically he was like, let's go try to get the 5K qualifier at Drake this year. And I was all about it. And I finally got my Drake Relays flag. And then we came back the next day and did the DMR. And I'd have to say the DMR was probably my favorite memory just because getting to experience like a true relays win with a team is just so fun. And that victory lap was just so sweet. And I was like looking back on pictures recently and I was like, oh, I want to race a relay when I'm here too. So it's just so fun. And I miss those like 4x8 times and the DMR races.
Yeah, getting a Drake Relays flag was like the pinnacle of high school, right? It was so cool. It was like better than a trophy almost. But yeah, I'm trying to remember. I get because I would go back for Drake and State, I kind of all the memories kind of go into one. So I can't remember which one was Drake and which one was State. Um, but I let's see. I do have a memory of doing a 1500 my senior year, um, and just trying to run as fast as I could. I think I was trying to run like 4:28 or something like that. And I remember going into the last lap, the entire crowd just like stood up and was cheering me on. And that was such a cool feeling. I like even was like kind of not even focusing on the race anymore. I was just like, this is so cool that like this is happening. So that's just like I said before, like it's just such a cool crowd and a cool environment and atmosphere that is created at the Drake Relays. Um, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to being back into it.
Well, at 2:59, that seems like a very fitting end. But what I may just turn now to each of our three panelists and offer the opportunity if there's anything they missed that they would like to share, and just final parting comments. And Francie, if it's okay, I'll start with you. If there's anything else that you'd like to add.
Just want to wish Karissa and Shelby best wishes in the race. I just read a piece in Track and Field News about the girls championship or girls race that they ran, and there was a young lady named Sydney Sydney Sutton, who was holding up a banner in the photo, and it said, "Records are made to be broken." She had just broken a record at the meet. And I thought that was pretty, that's very fitting for this event. Records are made to be broken.
Yes, I love your attitude towards this too. I feel like it's just such an honor to be able to be on this Zoom with you and to be able to get a chance to run back and try to get that record lower, Drake Stadium. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, same. It's such a privilege to be on the Zoom with you. Just as Karissa said, uh, you kind of paved the way for women's running, and it's really cool. It's a privilege. So I'm personally very excited to get back to Drake Relays and try out running a couple miles.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for those in media that were able to join us today. Special thanks to Francie, Shelby, and Karissa. And of course, as Francie said, best of luck to Shelby and Karissa, and we'll see you all in Des Moines next week.